Welcome back to the BTS Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Andrea. With me as always is Morgan.
Hey, what's up?
This week, Dahyun and Chaeyoung from Twice covered the song Switch to Me, which was originally done by Rain featuring JYP. Now, the original one came out on December 31st, 2020, and I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Nor did I.
Yeah, there was like a lot going on. It was like New Year's Eve and
right.
others.
Yeah, New Year's Eve, but you couldn't go and do anything.
Yeah.
Not in California.
I didn't realize this song came out. I did vaguely hear about it, but I didn't like watch the video or anything.
I think I sort of looked at it once.
But then when I heard that Twice members were going to have a cover of it, I was like, oh, okay, I better watch both of them then, because that sounds interesting. It's like, why would you cover a song that just happened?
Because your boss did it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, and now I can see it's a pretty fun idea because the first one, they're both very different, so I can see why they didn't think it would conflict or anything.
No.
Rain featuring JYP. If you watch the video, it's basically about them trying to one-up each other to impress this girl. And
okay, yeah.
It's about them being like really rich guys.
Are they rich? Is that implied in it?
I mean, they're in a helicopter. They're like having fancy dinners and stuff like that. Whereas the Twice girls version, it's more like cute concept, I think, and they're dressed in like 90s clothes and they're doing the same dance and everything. Actually, I like both videos and it worked for me for them to do it. But yeah, at first I was like, oh, this is just the 90s ripoff again, you know?
Yeah. When I watched the cover, I didn't even realize it was a cover, you know that?
Oh, yeah?
I didn't connect the two at all. I just thought they were doing a thing.
Like just a new song that they had?
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't remember the name of their song, so I just saw it with unbiased eyes. Mm-hmm. And when I was watching it, I did get the impression that this is kind of weird. It feels like you're sort of doing like your dad's dance or music. And then, of course, that totally makes sense because that's what they were doing. Mm-hmm. They were doing their dad's dance or music. And that's what this song, like, then when you said, oh, it's a cover of this thing, then I went and watched the JYP video again. And then I wasn't watching closely the first time, but then it was more apparent the second time or third time I watched it that he's really insisting on bringing back this, like, specific era from like 1988 to 1993 or something, right? It must be a good time in his life or something. JYP, I'm talking about, because this video is very, you know, like New Edition, Bobby Brown, MC Hammer, like even the way they're dancing. You just go watch like a Bobby Brown video or something.
Yeah, it's like every little step.
This is like R&B from 89 to 93. This is exactly this sort of music. It's a callback to that sort of thing. And then so when the Twice girls were doing it, I thought this is kind of a weird way for them to be dancing. This is not 2021 choreography. What is this? But now it all makes sense.
Yeah.
They're just doing their dad's music. Yeah, that's what they're doing. I'm glad that JYP is trying to bring this stuff back, but I don't know. Was this popular in Korea? Because personally, I don't think it was that popular. I think maybe he's swimming upstream with this. I feel like he loves that era, but I'm not sure anybody else loves that era.
I think he enjoyed it, and maybe it didn't hit as big in Korea at the time. So he's like, let me bring
it back.
This iconic era.
You guys need to experience New Jack Swing.
Yeah.
From America. You really, really do. If they like that sort of music, they would have liked it when Bruno Mars brought it back, right?
Yeah. I thought they really did bring the spirit of it, though. It's like fun video, really, and the dancing was fun. Right. It was similar to it, but different, and it was like simple enough that probably the K-pop fans can learn it.
I mean, I'm not upset about it. I like it, but I'm not quite sure how wide the appeal is. I think maybe this is just he likes it. But you know, when you're head of a company, that you have that sort of liberty, you can bring back stuff you like.
But do we think it's mostly JYP's influence? Because I got the impression it was Rain's song and then it's featuring JYP. But I don't know who did the producing and all that.
No. I don't think it's Rain's song. Rain's not even old enough to like that era of music. This is JYP.
Rain, I looked up people's ages, and Rain is 38.
Right.
JYP is 49.
Well, I guess Rain is in that range. But I feel like this is JYP's doing. Because he's tried to bring back certain retro things before.
Yeah, he loves the previous eras of hip-hop.
And also, making Twice girls cover it, that feels like JYP. It's not like Rain could do that.
That's true. That could have been his idea.
Yeah, he was thinking like, this era of music is so great. It wasn't enough that Rain and I did an homage to it. I'm going to make Twice do one too.
No, and I think he picked the right people too, the rap line.
Right.
And I like seeing them outside of Twice because, you know, they don't always get a ton of screen time.
Usually get the least.
There's like not that much rap in Twice songs anymore, and then they have to split the lines between them. So it was nice to see the both of them in their own video for once.
This has his fingerprints all over it, and I'm not against it. I know you love this era of music.
I think you have to do it just right, and just like you said, it is very similar to Bruno Mars when he did Finesse and that whole album.
Right.
And that was a really good album, and I think it's very similar note to that.
You know, it's a good homage to that.
What did you think of the surprise ending of Rain and JYP's video?
Oh, what was it? I don't remember.
Remember the whole time they were trying to impress the girl with their wealth and all that, and trying to one-up each other on the dates that they were on. It's like, oh, look at my fancy car, and like, look, I'm in a helicopter.
And she turned out to be richer than them?
No, and then she shows up, and it looks like they're both outside with their car. Like, Rain has a fancy Jeep, and then JYP has like a Ferrari or something. And then she walks out. She looks like she's going to meet up with one of them. And then she's like, oh, hi. And then Psy walks in from the side.
Oh, gosh. How did I not remember that? I must have been drinking. But, that's good.
But then I was
I'm surprised they got him to be. He's like from a different company now.
I'm sure they're all the executives are like friends. But I was like...
She wouldn't have chosen Psy. She would have chosen Rain because he's the best looking. That's my opinion.
Rain is the best looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the reality of things.
I didn't realize he was going to be like shirtless so much. Is that normally what he does?
Oh, yeah.
That's his
he's
thing?
Well known. I know he's like the first K-pop person that I was aware of. They tried to bring him over to the United States and do a movie. I think it was called like Ninja or something. Or like some action movie.
Oh, okay.
And that was a while back. So this is the first time that I was even aware of a K-pop person. Or it might have been Super Junior. But it was close in timeline. And he was constantly shirtless and then. So so he's known for having a good body. So he definitely would tend to be shirtless a lot. Although that was a while ago. So that's good that he kept it up.
I was like, well, how come JYP didn't show his abs too? Like,
he's not known for that. Maybe he's not in as good shape. You don't want to do that when the other guy's in much better shape. It's just embarrassing.
Oh, that's true. I mean, he looks good. I'm sure JYP is in shape, but yeah. Next to Rain, I don't know. Yeah, and I kind of thought there was like really the girl in the video was like questionable. It's like, what's her deal? Is she just like a sugar baby or? Is that the plot of this? Like, if it was about, like, who's the richest one?
I don't know. Let's not judge. People are adults and they can pursue relationships for whatever motives they have.
Right.
Yeah. But if they're both rich and one guy's younger and better looking and then there's Psy, this is not really that hard of a decision. I mean, putting myself in the women's shoes, she'd pick Rain, obviously. Let's be realistic here.
And then the Twice girls video, everybody liked it. And then it seemed that the next day I heard there's some controversy about the Hanbok that Dahyun was wearing in one scene. And people said, oh, that's plagiarizing because Jisoo from Blackpink wore that same jacket in how you like that video. And then you see the picture side by side. I was like, oh yeah, it does look really similar or like the same thing. And then JYP Entertainment apologized because they tried to say like they bought it through a distributor. They didn't realize it was, a knockoff of something else. So I don't know how you would know that unless you were up to date on watching like all K-pop videos. And I mean, I'm sure
so I don't understand. You can't wear clothes other people have worn. Where's that?
I guess it was
where's that rule?
It's a custom design.
So?
And the whatever one that JYP was using, it was just like made by not the original designer, like somebody who just like copied it.
I'm not sure what the laws are around this, but you can't wear clothing that other people have worn. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know if that counts as...
Like if I wear a white t-shirt, can you not wear white t-shirts in your video? I don't understand.
It's like, oh, you gotta...
I don't get it.
You have to know where that original design came from.
Well, I mean, so the person they bought it from copied a design from someone else.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. Have you ever been into H&M or Zara? They copy designs from runways like constantly.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't copyright those things. You don't have intellectual property over that. If you're like, I invented this gigantic black sweatshirt. No, you didn't. If that becomes popular this season, you know what's going to happen? Zara is going to produce a bunch of gigantic black sweatshirts and sell them, for like $20.
Or people do that with Yeezys. It's like, oh, there's a cloth shoe that looks very similar to a Yeezy. There's a cloth shoe that looks very similar to a Yeezy. And like, nobody was buying cloth shoes before Yeezys, right? But then now people, they make all sorts of knockoffs. One that doesn't cost thousands of dollars.
Things that look... Yeezys don't cost that much.
Oh, well, whatever it is.
I own Yeezys. So they don't cost like $200 something. You can't own that look, right? You can own like a trademark. If it says Gucci or something, you can't just write Gucci.
Right.
But a sweatshirt or clothing that looks a certain way, you don't own it. When you say custom, that doesn't mean anything to me. It's like everything's custom. When a fashion designer makes clothing for his or her runway, that's custom, right? Mm-hmm. And yet H&M and Zara will make knockoffs of that, things that look similar, and sell it all season long. And there's nothing illegal about it. They don't apologize for it. I don't get what's going on here.
And I'm sure it was just an honest mistake. It's like they just saw a design somewhere and bought it. They didn't know someone used it already in this other video. So, I don't know if they're just apologizing.
Well, even if someone using the video, so
it's like, we like that look too, so we're gonna...
Yeah, you can't own it, right? You can't own it, so too bad.
Yeah, and they never said, oh, it's original from that designer. They just had her wearing it. They didn't say...
Right, they just had her wearing it. Whatever.
I'm surprised anyone made it a big deal too, because in Asia, designs are copied all the time. Like, there isn't a lot of respect for... intellectual property to begin with.
No, they have straight up knockoffs, like even with brand logos and things. That's where those things come from mostly, for the most part. But this is not even coming to that level. This is just, this clothing item looks similar. You can make similar looking clothing items all day. Nothing wrong with it. And
maybe they didn't have to apologize. They just did it just to like acknowledge like, oh yeah, that's true. We didn't realize it's a similar garment. We weren't trying to like not give this person credit. It's like we just bought it off the rack, and that's that.
This is not a thing that can be copyrighted or owned. Weird. So they just apologize reflexively.
Also in Twice news, Jeongyeon has returned to group promotions starting on January 31st at the 30th Seoul Music Awards, and Twice performed and they won the Bonsang, and she joined the group on stage for the first time since her hiatus for anxiety in October 2020. So she's been away for about 3 months. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little over 3 months, and has now come back. I guess we didn't know that was going to happen, but she was just suddenly at this award show. It's like, okay, I guess she's back now. So that's good.
Yeah, good.
She looked kind of nervous standing there, and it's probably like a lot to deal with after a break. It's like, suddenly there's like a crowd of people.
Probably feels weird.
And you're performing and you're in the spotlight again. So yeah, I'm sure that's a lot to deal with, and hopefully she's doing better now. But she must be if she's back. I think the only negative thing I was hearing about that was people were commenting on how she looked and that she had gained a little bit of weight since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I did kind of see that. Like, her face looked a little bit fuller, but
right.
I think most people were just kind of cutting her some slack and they weren't being, like, super mean about it. But, yeah, I guess netizens maybe somewhere were having a lot of mean comments about it.
Probably commenters from Korea were harshest.
Right.
Probably. I'm guessing. I didn't really read into it or anything. But, yeah, I saw her in the, like, a Japanese Twice video, and she did something for that. And I could tell immediately she had gained weight. You could tell just from the face, you know. And by gain weight, I don't mean like she was fat or anything. By American standards, she's still normal weight. You know, she's just gained weight from her previous weight. But her previous weight was quite thin since she's a K-pop star.
Yeah.
You know, and of course it's to be expected. She had a layoff. And not only that, she had surgery or something? She was taking like certain drugs. That's going to happen.
She has like chronic injuries. I think she has like back and neck issues.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was, rehabbed or dealt with at the same time during her break.
On balance, it's quite understandable for her to gain weight in that situation. And the amount of weight she gained wasn't, in the broader perspective that much.
It couldn't have been more than a couple pounds just with her.
Yeah. I mean, at most she gained like 10 pounds at most, She wouldn't even be considered quote unquote overweight by BMI standards,
No.
You could say that, oh, well, she's overweight compared to the standard for the group or whatnot. I guess you could say that. But how do I want to approach this? Well, the first time that I saw people talking about it was from the perspective of like American commentators saying, this is absurd. Why are people commenting on her weight? It's so offensive. It's so mean. And yes, I think that's true. I think it's uncalled for you to be mean about it because you're just a person on the internet. But these commenters also, from the American perspective, a lot of them went on to say things like, oh, it shouldn't even matter what weight a person is. She should be allowed to be any weight whatsoever, and she's beautiful no matter what. And what like, I'm not going to comment whether she's beautiful at any single weight, but I will disagree with the idea that no, it doesn't matter what weight she is. Like, that never matters. She can be any weight she wants. Like, from an American perspective, okay? Keep in mind that we just have different cultural standards about this sort of thing. We prop up artists like Lizzo and like, oh, Big is beautiful and things like that. These are cultural differences, right? Like, in America, these things are more acceptable. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. I have an opinion about it, but that's not for here. We just have different cultural standards than they do in Korea. It's not for you to say it's okay. Oh, it's okay for you to just be any weight. No, I'm pretty sure that's not factually true because she's first and foremost a Korean artist, a Korean employee, and she is subject to Korean standards, right? Not American standards. And we all know this is just the reality in the world of K-pop. They have body standards.
Right. It's always going to be scrutinized.
Right. And even though by American standards, she is not even now, overweight. She's a normal weight by American standards. That's not the same as Korean K-pop standards. She probably is on the heavy side for that standard. Understandable, of course, since she has been going through a lot. So no, I don't agree that it never matters and it should never matter. Like, that's not for you to decide. That's for that industry to decide and for that culture to decide. Okay? And my guess is they probably do think she's on the heavy side for that. At the same time, it's not for you to be making mean comments about it because even if she is on the heavy side, even if she needs to lose weight, that's a job performance issue, right? That's between her and her employer.
Yeah, and there's no need to comment on it because it'll be reflected in like, okay, less fans are paying attention to your group and things like that.
Just like if you were not doing your dancing or you're singing well, is there any need for you to be particularly rude about it? No. Just purchase a product or don't. Consume the product or don't. And this issue will be handled between her and her employer. And my guess is that her employer does think it matters. But my guess is also that they're pretty understanding for the extenuating circumstances contributing to this.
Yeah.
And my guess is when she feels better, she'll, lose some weight and satisfy expectations that are put upon her in her work.
Like you said, she might be on medications that are having side effects. And then, once she's like has lower doses or whatever, then
This is something for them to work out.
Yeah.
But they will work it out. It's not going to be ignored.
It doesn't need to be something like that all fans need to be talking about and amplify it. Like the company sees her the same.
Right. And they know what's going on.
Yeah, they see her too, and they.
Right. And she also knows what's going on. It's really uncalled for you to be pointing it out in a rude way.
I'm sure she and the company have a handle on her situation.
Right.
I don't think you're going to get anywhere trying to convince everybody to change what their standard is of what they're expecting from a K-pop girl group to look like.
Right. Be nice about it, but at the same time, respect that she comes from a culture where this stuff does matter. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, it's part of the job.
Yes. We'd have to be dumb to say anything else.
Do we ever find out why Shindong is in Super Junior even though...
No, I have no idea. And it's one of the most puzzling things. Didn't they once say that Shindong was there because he was a choreographer or something? And maybe he forced his way onto the group? But how do you do that?
It's just a mystery to me because when people say, oh, they're so strict about bodies in K-pop.
Right.
But then,
he's the one exception.
How come he's in Super Junior then?
Right.
Since the beginning.
Right. And then some people will say things like, well, how's Psy? It was like, but he was always kind of like a funny artist or something, right?
Right.
He wasn't Super Junior. Super Junior was like...
Yeah, those are supposed to be idols.
Like a boy group.
Well, Psy was like a soloist, and he wasn't like, oh, he's an idol. He's like, the top handsome guy or whatever.
Right. He was never meant to be that, and he always made funny songs. It's not what Super Junior did.
So, yeah.
They had a fat guy.
That is puzzling.
How? Why?
That happened. I guess
maybe somebody can explain.
Yeah, if anyone is what is it, an elf?
Elf. I don't know why it's called that.
From the beginning, if you could tell us like what that was like when you saw that Shindong is in the group.
I don't care what it was like.
Was
I
that
just want an explanation
for
it.
Yeah.
I want a rational explanation for how it happened.
Yeah, if K-pop is so strict about bodies, then I don't understand how that happened.
It is, except in this one situation, right?
Yeah.
It is. Well, I don't know.
It's the one outlier. The last episode, we were talking about the GFriend controversy, where Sewon uploaded photos of herself posing with a German soldier, some say a Nazi soldier, but that's up to interpretation. And they apologized for that, or Source Music apologized for that. So this week, on February 3rd, the Simon Wiesenthal Center tweeted about this, and this is an organization that works on Holocaust education and Jewish issues, and they must have heard about this situation, and then they tweeted about what happened. Their tweet was really kind of harsh, I think. I mean, you'd think an educational center would be more...
Well, it's always an intern or something running these Twitters.
Yeah. You think they'd be a little more neutral about it, or more like...
Why? Are you familiar with that organization? Maybe they're never neutral.
No. But it's like the something center. You would think they would be more on the educational side of things and not like... It just was like a tweet. It was like, let me just rip apart GFriend. Like, the way they described it was like much harsher than I thought was in reality the situation. Like, here's what the tweet said. Shame on Big Hit Entertainment as another of its K-pop groups embrace Nazi symbols. SWC efforts to educate company useless. Then apology useless now. Knowingly denigrate 6 million Jews murdered in World War II Nazi Holocaust. Boosts today's racist neo-Nazis.
Well, first of all, what is with the sentence construction here?
It was kind of confusing.
Why is it so choppy? Why are they not speaking in full sentences?
They tried to squeeze a lot into the one tweet, I think.
Well, there's ways to do that without butchering the English language. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
I like people to speak in complete sentences. I don't care that it's Twitter.
It could have been 2 tweets. And then
it could have
been a little clearer.
Please. Otherwise, it's unclear what you're... Anyway. Well, yeah, it was a little harsh. And again, I don't even agree that they were using Nazi imagery. Well, let's put it this way. If I show you a map, an outline of the German state, am I using Nazi imagery?
That is imagery of Nazis.
No, is it though? It's just Germany.
I mean, in like a super broad definition.
Well, the Nazis were in Germany.
Right.
here's an outline of the German country. Is that Nazi imagery? I don't.
Not really.
I mean, most people probably say no, I would hope.
No, because like people living in Germany today, it's like I'm wearing a shirt that has Germany on it. That's not Nazi imagery.
But I'm not. But I'm German.
Yeah.
Well, there were a lot of people in the German military that weren't Nazis. I don't know why people just refuse to accept this.
Right.
I don't get it. Well, anyway, that was last episode, so we're not going to continue on that. So what is the problem? They have their opinion.
I had a lot of problems with this tweet, and it goes beyond the tone of it. It was like the one part it says knowingly denigrate. It's like they weren't knowingly doing anything. GFriend thought that was just a German soldier, and it's like we
don't know what they
have a funny photo with
we don't know for sure what they thought. Let's put it that way.
But they definitely weren't knowingly denigrating 6 million Jews killed in the Holocaust.
I think that's a stretch. Yes. Even if they thought that Nazis were cool, that's not knowingly denigrating Jews. That's another step to this.
Yeah, that's the actions of.
Yeah, that's not speaking specifically to what. That's such a logical leap. Whatever.
And then there's a part of this tweet where now I finally understood what they're talking about, because it says, our efforts to educate the company useless then, apology useless now. Because previously this same group had complained about BTS. I forget what happened exactly, but it was in 2018, and there's some kind of photo shoot, and they used some hats that the center thought were too Nazi looking. And I don't think it was just very like the style, I guess, and obviously Big Hit or BTS had no idea that that's what that looked like or was meant to look like, or maybe didn't even intend to look like, and they apologized for that. Well, I don't know if they apologized exactly. They said what they said at the time was they offered their sincerest apologies, but claimed that the similarities with Nazi symbols were unintentional. So like this same center basically thought, oh, Big Hit is promoting Nazis again with this GFriend thing. So it's like, I don't know, I just feel like the center has a way of overreacting to stuff. It's like when Korean groups are like unintentionally using props or whatever that are too close to looking Nazi, you know?
Well,
I don't even know how they notice that. It's like this stuff that's happening in Korea, they're like...
Who even at the center is watching so much K-pop? That's interesting. Why are they paying attention so closely?
I guess whoever tweeted this was aware of the previous issue with BTS and then needed to tweet about the GFriend situation too. And the reason this was a story that I saw was because I guess a lot of ARMY and buddies are the GFriend fans, were tweeting at this center and criticizing them. You know, then that got some backlash too, because it's like, whoa, why are you guys tweeting at this Holocaust Twitter? That's in itself is offensive, you know, and it just was causing a whole big thing. But I think people have the right to respond to how inaccurate their tweet was.
I want to take a couple things in order here. First, you know what? The next time this happens from the Simon Wiesenthal Center, I think probably if they just want to checkmate them, meaning Big Hit, if they just want to, you know, one-up them and shut them up and say something that they would have no rebuttal to, they should just say, well, as people of color, we really think that you're engaging in colonialism right now and imperialism by trying to silence people of color. Because you're not. I mean, like, Jews aren't technically white, but they're not far from it either.
Right. They're in the same tier of power.
They should just play that card. The next time you get flack from these people, just play that card.
Right.
Just say, well, we're people of color.
They're silencing.
And you're not.
Silencing people of color.
Yes. So what are you going to do now? You know, just play these cards against them, because that's what they do. They just play these cards like, boom. It's almost like Uno, right? They just play these cards like, well, but you have the POC card, and they never play it.
Right. They don't.
You see, because Koreans aren't familiar with how all this stuff works. In America, see, we're familiar with this game because we've been playing it for a while here, this very irritating game. But I don't think Koreans are familiar with it. So here's what you need to do next time. If a Jewish center says something about you, just play the person of color card.
Just throw those words out there.
Yeah, just throw those words out there. Just send somebody to like to an American university, have them take some one of any number of classes, and they'll learn all these terms and just use them in a string together. And then they'll have to be quiet. Because if they say anything, it'll seem like they're being racist now. Because like, oh, you're a person of color now. Oh, you can't say anything. See? That is how it works here. So just do that, Big Hit. And what is the next point that we're talking about? Oh, people were commenting on it.
Yeah.
And there was backlash to people. The thing I want to say about that is, first of all, I saw some of the tweets. I read through this thread. Not this thread, but I read through the article that quoted some people, right? And not all the tweets were offensive or anything. They disagreed with people on the points. You made a point and I disagreed with it.
Right.
And yet some people characterize that disagreement as what? Racist or problematic? Anti-Semitic. Like, so basically, I can't disagree with you if you're a different race. How does this work here? What if the Simon Wiesenthal Center tomorrow posted a tweet that said the earth is flat? And then I came in on Twitter and said, no, you're a dummy and wrong. The earth is not flat. Would I be anti-Semitic because I disagreed with the point they were making? Because apparently on Twitter and in a lot of people's minds, that is how it works. Some of these tweets they disagreed. They said, this is misinformation. You're wrong.
Yeah. I thought it was unfair. You can only disagree depending on who the original person is.
You can only disagree with somebody's points, and you can only argue with them on the points if they're a white male. Anybody else, you're labeled something, an ist, right? Anybody else. And by the way, this is coming from the perspective of a person who is not a white male. But we live in this really backwards, idiotic system where you can't disagree with someone on the points. Some of these tweets, they just disagreed with them.
Right.
They didn't come out and say, yeah, I disagree with you, and you're a dirty Jew. Okay, that would be anti-Semitic. But you can disagree with people, by the way. What if you came out and said 2 + 2 = 5? Can I not disagree without being an ist? Maybe you're just stupid. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say you're stupid and wrong. I can't say that anymore. If you're the wrong race, I'm the wrong race, whatever, right? I can only say that if the races line up. Like if you're a white male or, make it make sense, please. So I can never disagree with you because you're Jewish or you're a person of color. What if you said the earth is flat? What if you said BTS is anti-Semitic? I disagree on the points. Here's my argument. Here's the facts that I bring to bear. Here's my disagreement. No, you're anti-Semitic. And point number 2, I saw those tweets, and these articles can do this sort of thing. And this is another thing I hate about writing articles based on tweets. It's really bad. A lot of these tweets they're not blue check marks. They have no retweets. They have no likes. So it's just like a person out in the void saying something. You can get 5 people out in the void to say anything. That doesn't represent a large swath of people whatsoever, right? Mm-hmm. You can't say, well, I got tweets from 5 Trump supporters or 5 Biden supporters or whatever, right, saying we should eat babies. Now I'm going to write an article about how all of them think we should eat babies. It's like, well, but did those tweets get any likes? Did they get retweets? Like, there's no indication that this is a widely shared opinion, right?
Right. Other than the one person.
Other than I found 5 tweets. Those tweets could be anything. They could be trolling. They could just be one crazy person or 5 crazy people with a weird opinion. It could be all sorts of things. This is Twitter, guys. Everybody's on Twitter. And nobody has to explain. And nobody has to be sincere or anything. They don't have to be accountable for what they say. So you being able to find 5 people that say something totally out of bounds or out of line, it doesn't prove anything. Now, if a lot of people liked and retweeted, okay, then we can talk. Then this is obviously an opinion shared by a ton of people. So, yeah, it is closer to being representative, and we can talk about it. Now, on the topic of whether or not they should be attacking the Simon Wiesenthal Center, I don't think you should be attacking them, right? If you said anything racist or offensive, then, yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that. But if you wanted to say something like, I disagree with your points, I think they're factually incorrect, or, I think that they're misplaced. What is wrong with that? I think, please do that. What is Twitter for except for that, to do that, to voice your opinion about something?
Yeah. And the way that the Simon Wiesenthal Center worded this, it's almost like they were inviting angry responses from K-pop fans because they made it sound like so much more exaggerated and like Big Hit is intentionally encouraging neo-Nazis And like, I'm not surprised there was a reaction. It's almost like they did it on purpose to get more attention. And it's like, why even mention the BTS part of it? Like, that happened 3 years ago, and like no one even remembers that anymore. But it's like, well, we got to mention that so that we get ARMY.
They're cloud chasing.
So we get ARMY mad too, because there's way more of them than buddies.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure that that Simon Wiesenthal Center does a lot of good work and Holocaust education and all that, but their tweets are really not helping their cause. It just seems like they're causing a lot of controversy for no reason. It's like this, I mean, GFriend is spreading neo-Nazis. Like, I don't think so. Like, what neo-Nazi listens to GFriend?
I'm almost certain that before Sowon posted that picture, there were X number of neo-Nazis in this world. Whatever that number is, because I don't know what it is. And after she posted that picture, that number was still X. I would bet good money on that. Pretty sure that did not turn anybody from the side of, no, I'm not a neo-Nazi, to, hell yes, I'm a neo-Nazi today. Yeah, I don't think that happened.
Because I stand GFriend, I will become a neo-Nazi now.
Yeah, and I saw this picture. So you know what? I now have a very strong opinion on the Jewish question. Even though I'm Korean and I'm just a K-pop fan. But now I have a strong opinion on this and I'm going to shave my head. What is that? Do people think that that's happening? It's not. That's ridiculous. So, yeah, it's probably some amount of clout chasing involved there. You know, have at it. They got some, right?
Yeah.
But, whatever.
Yeah, hopefully this story is over now. It didn't seem like a huge controversy to begin with, but maybe now we can move on from Twitter drama.
No, we won't be able to.
So, Ilgan Sports has been conducting an annual survey since 2017, and they do it each year around Lunar New Year. They ask idol groups which groups that they are most anticipating in the coming year. And there's a lot of groups that they participated anonymously. So I thought that was very interesting. It's like, okay, it's all anonymous results. So it can be like really their honest opinions. And so they asked basically all the big groups. There's a whole list of them. So they asked them, okay, what are the top idol groups that are most anticipated in 2021? And you'd think like, oh, maybe we'll get some like, unexpected results because maybe they think differently than what the fans want. Number 1 was BTS. Number 2 was aespa. That I can understand too because that's a new group and people want to see where that goes with the avatars and all that. 3 was Stray Kids. 4 and Hypen. I think they got a lot of new group interest. And then 5 was 17. But I think the results were kind of what most people would say overall if this was a poll of fans too. When you see the groups as, like I see BTS as a fan, I don't see them as, oh, I'm competing with you as another idol. Like maybe for all we know, the other idols are like, oh, I'm tired of hearing about BTS and I don't care what they're doing this year and they're overrated or whatever, stuff like that, right? But I guess they also like BTS. So that's what I learned from this article and this survey.
Well, it's such a vague thing to say, anticipated. What does that even mean?
I guess whose songs are you looking forward to or whatever that group is doing this year that you are interested in seeing? I think I would put maybe ITZY on this list too, out of what was on here.
I wouldn't interpret it as this is stuff that they like necessarily. Yeah, I don't know how they vote, but my guess would be they're probably answering with the mindset of which groups do they think the industry is going to be focusing on. Like, which groups will have a lot of company support and be doing interesting things. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the way I interpret it. Not which groups do you listen to and things like that. Like, which groups will be winning,
Yeah.
And, of course, BTS makes sense because they're number 1 in every single way. I thought aespa is interesting because I think that reveals that people on the inside of the industry, they know that maybe SM is really going to be pushing aespa and this whole avatar thing. This is something they're going to try to make work. Stray Kids being number 3, I think that kind of reveals that within the industry, they view Stray Kids as JYP's number 1 group now. That was not twice. I think maybe they think that Stray Kids is number 1.
Also, I think
Hypen and 17 is just like, okay, they're popular boy groups.
Yeah. I think Stray Kids has a lot of like unexpected momentum right now. Like they had a lot of really like hit songs, and maybe that wasn't expected. So people think, oh, this is going to be a big year for them.
It's hard to say what they were thinking. I don't know. But sometimes they ask pro athletes, like, what are you excited to see? Who do you love to watch or whatever? And then a lot of pro athletes say, I don't like watching anybody. This is my job, which is a fair answer, right?
Right. You just focus on your own stuff.
Like you love watching it because you're a fan of this sport. I don't love watching it. This sport is my job. And I kind of think that might be the more dominant view amongst people in K-pop, is my guess. Maybe some of them love listening to K-pop, like they love listening to other groups.
Do you think they do that? That's a good question.
No, I don't. I think that most of them, since they spend so much time at work, they just want to leave work at work. They don't even view it as leisure. They don't listen to their own music. First of all, nobody listens to their own music because they hear it too much. And I'm not sure they listen to other people's music because then that's competition and it brings back a feeling of work. I'm betting that a vast majority of them in their free time and their leisure listen to regular music, like American music or something, you know?
Well, sometimes I've heard that comedians, they don't want to listen to other comedians because they don't want to hear other people's jokes and then like subconsciously like incorporate that.
That's a different issue. But
like they don't want to be influenced by things they're hearing from other
That's a different issue. I've heard that too. What I'm talking about is more like, I don't want to be thinking about work when I'm not at work. And if I'm listening to our music or if I'm listening to music from other people in the industry, it kind of reminds me of work, right? When you're not working, you want to leave work at work, probably, right?
I think usually. But I think the more popular songs everybody hears about, though, because like a lot of them know other dances.
I think, but how much do they enjoy them? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not a K-pop star. It's hard to read that much into this vaguely worded poll, but if I had to read anything into it, I would say it's from the inside of the industry, what they think will be pushed hard by the companies. And it's very interesting to see Stray Kids and aespa there, because this indicates that Stray Kids, not Twice, not ITZY, is #1 at JYP, and aespa is #1 at SM. And these are big statements, because I don't think the average fan would say that, who's the #1 group at JYP? Oh yeah, Stray Kids. Who's the #1 group at SM? I don't think they would say aespa.
And it is interesting that aespa is the only girl group on this list. People are thinking maybe that's the future of girl groups.
Maybe the future of everything. Maybe it's like there's some industry insight in here, but I'm not sure.
So I have a blind item from the website crazydaysandnights.net. And if you're not familiar, this is a site that has celebrity gossip, and it doesn't say who it's talking about, but you're just supposed to speculate on what it's about. And it's written by a 300-pound lawyer in Los Angeles who goes by the name of NT Lawyer. So they had a very interesting blind that I wanted to talk about. It was released on Monday, February 8th, 2021. It says, the demand for this initialed foreign-born group is way down. Sales are down, and views are down. Interactions are down. People are tired of the group, and 2021 will be when they announce their final tour. And this got a lot of comments on the blind, and the fact that it says initialed foreign-born group made a lot of people guess that this is about BTS. And I was like, that couldn't be more not true, because people aren't tired of BTS. That's like the furthest.
Who guessed it?
A lot of the commenters. These are just like
stupid
regular people that follow gossip page, so they don't necessarily.
They have low IQs or something? BTS is not less popular than it ever was.
Yeah, they don't know about K-pop, but I think that's just like the first thing that came to mind, because there's not a ton of initialed groups that are foreign, and I think
people probably have low SAT scores.
And I think K-pop, it just has a lot of groups that are named that way, so it's like, oh, well, man, it must be about BTS. And
it just said their sales are down, they're less popular. That doesn't describe BTS in the least.
No, BTS is more popular than ever right now. For some reason, a lot of average people think K-pop is still either not that popular or just a fad, or it's not going to last.
Normies.
I was like, what? It's like it's growing like exponentially, but maybe you don't see it. I don't know, but
okay, so it's clearly not BTS. Why are we talking about this?
Well, a lot of people guessed that it was, so
they have low IQs.
I wanted to think about who it is about. Then,
who do you think it is?
It could be about a group in K-pop, but I can't really think of any group.
I don't think so, because I don't think NT Lawyer is familiar with like very obscure K-pop groups.
It would have to be a group that's been around a long time and that
it's not K-pop.
People are tired of.
It's first of all, it's not BTS because they're not declining in popularity. We can say that.
Do you think it could be about EXO? Is that something that people are tired of? I mean, they haven't
Is
been.
Is that an initial?
I don't know.
EXO's not initials of anything.
Is EXO a word then?
It's a word.
Okay.
So if they're talking about that, then NT Lawyer is stupid. That's not.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't think it's about EXO, but maybe NCT. I don't think they're just.
NCT's popular. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're popular too. I'm just naming initial. I'm not saying this is who I think. What about TVXQ?
No, because I don't think that's big enough for NT Lawyer to be talking about. That's very K-pop specific.
It's a group that's been around a while. That maybe they're.
What sources does Fat Lawyer have about TVXQ? Let's be real.
His sources are people who
in K-pop
used to work in the industry and then now they live in LA or something.
The industry in LA, yeah, exactly. Like I said, the industry
people
in LA.
People who have moved to LA, but a lot of people like they have an American base. Like there's some people like that would have.
I don't think TVXQ. I don't think TVXQ would be on his radar.
Yeah, I actually don't think this is even about K-pop.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all. He just said foreign-born. He didn't say K-pop. He just said foreign-born. That could be anywhere outside of the U.S., correct?
Right.
Who do you think it is?
There's someone on there that was guessing ABBA, which I didn't even know that.
ABBA's a good guess. Because it's initials.
I didn't even know that was the initials of... It's like all the people's names.
Yeah, that's right. And it's old and declining in popularity.
I think... Because remember, they were really popular because... what was that? There's like 3 movies that had all their songs in it. That I forgot
ABBA's a good guess.
I forget what it's called, but
I would guess ABBA.
I think now that's kind of past, like that whole ABBA like revival or whatever, and then now probably we don't want to hear ABBA anymore.
Right.
So I think that was a really good guess, and maybe that's what this is about. But I thought, maybe this is about like U2 or something.
Well, that's the other one I was going to guess. Well, you stole all my guesses.
Well, because they've been around a long time.
They've been around a long time, but it feels like nobody's talking about them.
But would people pay tickets for them anymore? Probably not, because now it's like Bono is more of like just his own thing, and he's doing like humanitarian stuff.
Anyway, I think it's one of those two.
I was also thinking some other groups, and it was like Kiss or like ZZ Top, but then I was like, wait, they're Americans.
They're not foreign-born.
But there's not that many.
Probably ABBA.
That was a good guess.
Because I'm not sure U2 is quote-unquote initial. I think they're named after the spy plane.
Oh.
But I could see how NT Lawyer would just sort of say it. But at the same time, no. Initials are initials.
Yeah.
And even BTS is not initial. It stands for words that are not names, right?
Oh, so you're saying initials has to be like a proper name of something?
Doesn't it? Your initials. When someone says, can you initial this? What do you put? Do you just put any old words or letters?
The first letter.
Do you put U2? You put the first letter of your first name and the first letter of your last name. That's what initials are, right?
That's true.
The only group that I can think of that satisfies this is ABBA.
I was thinking that he's just using it interchangeably with acronym.
He could.
But then again, he's a lawyer, so maybe he purposely said initials and then just...
If it is in fact a lawyer, they would probably be more precise about these definitions.
Yeah.
And in which case, I would guess it's ABBA. Not exciting, I know. Most people listening to this probably don't even know what ABBA is. They were a group in the 70s from Sweden?
I think they're Swedish.
And they made really popular disco music, like Dancing Queen and stuff. 50 years ago at this point. But apparently they're still around. They do some music, and they're going to have a last tour. It's not about BTS, but I can see why you mentioned it, because some idiots guess it was BTS.
A lot of people thought that was BTS. Like it was like 90% of the
BTS,
guesses.
They're not initials.
No.
So those people are also wrong on that front.
Oh, the movie I was trying to think of, Mamma Mia. There was like Mamma Mia 1, 2, 3. Those all had ABBA music, and that was really popular. But then now that's over. So now I think their popularity's in decline. So yeah, this blind is probably about ABBA and not BTS. So we think we solved it here.
It wasn't difficult.
Thank you to our guest, Morgan. You can find BTS Happy Hour on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Deezer, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. New episodes weekly. To support the podcast, please comment and share on social media, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or give us a rating on your podcast app. Follow BTS Happy Hour on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where there's a Facebook page and a Facebook group. You can also go to the website at btshappyhour.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional content. Until next time, this has been the BTS Happy Hour. Thanks for listening, and remember, make every hour a happy one.